Alright guys, we have an update because the other day I did that video on the Oblivion Remaster, and I mentioned that Nexus Mods, which is one of the biggest mod sites, especially for games like Oblivion, was taking down the mod that replaced Body Type 1 and 2 with the original male-female option. Now of course, Nexus Mods taking this down does kind of fit in with a pattern of behavior where they tend to take down anything that any normal person would consider slightly right of center. It's happened a lot throughout a bunch of different games. However, this time it seems like the pushback was finally too much for them. I'm not really sure why this one got them, but as you can see here in this tweet from Grums, Nexus Mods folds and allows male-female mods for Oblivion Remastered. They try to claim that the mod was never banned for the mod, but for the behavior of the mod maker. But they've banned other male-female mods before. It's a win, gamers. And he's right here. They have banned mods like this in the past. And I think that, maybe there's just a rogue moderator who's deleting things based off political alignment. I'm not sure. I don't know what goes on at the inner workings of Nexus Mods. I imagine there's a lot of Cheetos and Mountain Dew. But the pushback to Nexus Mods removing this male-female mod for Oblivion Remastered was so great that they had to issue a statement, and this was the statement that they issued. They said, "Community notice regarding this mod. This mod has been, and likely will continue to be, a source of controversy within the community. After a thorough review, we've determined that the content of the mod itself does not violate our community guidelines. However, due to the nature of this topic, which often attracts intense and sometimes hostile discussion, the comments section will remain locked to prevent further escalations." Why was the original upload removed? There has been a lot of speculation and misinformation regarding the removal of the original upload. To clarify, the mod was not taken down because of its content. Now, I'm just going to say that in my opinion, that's a bold-faced lie. They will never be able to convince me that they did not take this down for political reasons, especially because it seems like there's a pattern of them taking down things for political reasons, at least in my opinion. As stated in the ban notice, it was removed due to the uploader's behavior. In the comments, the uploader expressed an intent to incite drama and endorsed an external site explicitly designed to host inflammatory content. This behavior directly violates our community standards. So obviously, this is their excuse. They're saying, oh, no, he didn't do anything wrong by our actual rules. He just happened to be a mean guy in the comments. And I think that's pretty stupid. Not gonna lie, I don't know why they decided to come out with this and say this when I don't think anybody's gonna believe them. However, I will give them one good point. Now, this is something that people on the left always forget that they can do. There is no need to report this mod page. If you'd prefer to not see this content, we encourage you to make use of the content blocking tools by blocking the real world issues or the author and the author's name. A lot of times it feels like people, especially on the left, just don't know how to block people. They just seethe whenever they see something that they don't agree with. So yeah, kudos to them for telling people that they're not going to get the stuff banned and that they should just use the block feature. I feel like people ignore that way too much. However, this wasn't the only statement that was put out today about this. Our good friend Asmongold, who's currently on vacation, put up a tweet about it. He said, realistically, this was to prevent a watershed moment where a large enough percentage of players transition from Nexus to another mod platform that breaks their default monopoly on PC mods, losing a battle in fear of losing a war. Still a W, but important to keep in context. And I do agree with this. I think that the pushback on this was pretty big, and that in the past, they've had a few controversies like this, and every single time, the number one thing you see from anybody is people saying, I wish there was a normal mod site, a place where we could post mods and not have to worry about the moderators being upset because of our political leanings. I genuinely think that Asmongold's right when he says that the only reason they're doing this is because they're scared that people will leave. Because if somebody puts up a mod like this, which is going to be popular on a different mod site, then suddenly a whole bunch of people are going to get used to using a different mod site, and maybe they'll like that one more. At least they can get the mods that they want on that site. They obviously can't get them on Nexus Mods because of what seems like biased enforcement. So like Asmon says, it is still a W. I don't think that Nexus Mods actually enjoyed doing this, but hey, I'm open to being proved wrong. What's important though is that gamers take another win, gamers are rising up, and we got the W once again. Victory Royale, we did it. So you guys let me know in the comments, are you happy to see this move? Are you glad to see Nexus Mods putting this mod back up and seemingly taking a step towards allowing mods that don't align with the left-wing ideological view? Let me know in the comments. Thank you so much for watching all the way till the end. Remember to like and subscribe. Have a great day, and God bless you.